We have become an emotionally illiterate society, mainly for two reasons. One is a short-term and one is a long-term reason. So the more shorter-term reason is because it's the generational thing. It's sort of a hand-me-down from parent to child through generations, completely not intentional. But here is what happens. Me and probably you were growing up in circumstances where you were raised by your primary caretakers. For most of us, this is father and mother, and maybe grandfathers and grandmothers. And you were probably hearing things like, do not be angry, you do not have to be afraid, things like that, which sound a bit like harmless sentences, but the implications of a parent basically expressing in sort of a roundabout way that your emotions at the moment are not okay, while you are in the emotional development stage, which is for sure in the first 14 years of your life, maybe longer. This is massive. Like, this changes your whole perception of yourself and your perception of the world. And we humans are designed as emotional beings. Like, there is nobody who does not have anger, who does not have fear, who does not have joy, does not have like sadness, and like the whole spectrum of human emotions is something that is hardwired into our biology, and it is hardwired into our ways that we are designed to deal with society. Like, socially, these emotions are designed for us to function. We have survived as a species because we are tribal creatures. So we have an innate need for functioning relationships, for community, for expression, like to see and be seen and to communicate and to co-create. These are all very basic, very fundamental needs that we have. And the main language that we use to communicate with each other is actually not the verbal language, but it is the emotional language. Anger, for example, in lower intensities, is designed to communicate boundaries. It is designed to say no or to say yes, to express certain desires, to communicate clarity, to go for things that are important for you, like to have this sort of activation energy in order to do difficult things. Fear is designed to put you, like again in lower intensities, to put you into a state of alertness, to deal with the unknown that there is so much of in this world. Sadness is designed to touch you deeply, to be connected to your heart, to have that mirror neuron sort of moment with other people where you feel deep compassion, things like that. So there is so much by design in our emotional system that is completely out of whack. Like, the way we are raised, you can imagine that the four primary emotions that I mentioned earlier, anger, fear, sadness, and joy, are like the main four directions of your compass. And now imagine that you grow up and moment by moment, situation by situation, your primary caretakers, those people who are like gods to you when you are a child, those who provide you safety and those who teach you by mirroring how this world functions. This is where you gain all your orientation. And now you have been given this compass, which is your emotional body that develops roughly like people. Yeah, there are different opinions on that, but roughly between the age of 7 and 14. And then there's those people telling you, do not be angry, which is something like, West is wrong. Like, do not trust the arrow when it points west. But then they tell you, oh, you do not have to be afraid, which is like subconsciously you hear the actual sentence, which like usually when a parent tells you, do not be afraid, it means that they themselves have an issue with you being afraid because they themselves have not been taught how to use emotions correctly. So they themselves have lost their compass and they do not know what to do. They feel helpless in that moment. And all they can come up with is like, do not be afraid. And you as a child hear, oh, when I'm afraid is not cool for my parent. They get stressed when I'm fearful. I better not be that. So let's erase east, shall we, on the compass? And then they tell you things like, oh, don't be so sad. Like when you're crying all the time, and then they get either pissed because you're crying, or they get helpless again, or they get somehow, they start creating consequences, or they feel not enough themselves, or whatever, all these kind of second order problems that you get when you're not relaxed with people being emotional around you. And children are emotional, so you have to you have to mirror to them their emotions, you have to co-regulate with them. There is all these skills that we should have as parents that we completely lost because our parents didn't have them either. So you hear all these basic sentences and you feel as a child, I mean, children are not stupid. Like, children feel so much, and children have this already very, very early, this ability to scan emotions and to feel like, now my father is stressed, now my mother is dissociating, like is not really in her body, now my grandmother has this tension to my grandfather. Like, all these subtle relationship dynamics are very, very present. They are very, very easy actually for a child to read, but they are not easy for them to understand and articulate, and not easy to regulate emotionally, because when your primary caretaker is stressed, you are like double stressed. So as a child, of course. And then when you are, so what's the fourth one? Joy. So when you are like excited and euphoric, yeah, often that's fine. That's okay. Quite often also you get, especially a bit later, when you're not like 2 or 3 anymore, you get these moments of like, what is there to laugh about, So you learn that joy is not okay either. So by now you have erased all the 4 directions that you have on your compass, and there's like nothing left. So it's no wonder that we walk around the planet here in Western society with depression, with burnout, with issues to have boundaries with people, with codependency and narcissism and all these like social issues. We do not know how to take decisions collectively. Like, we have created all these pseudo-democratic structures in politics, and in companies we have these like hierarchies that make it possible to kind of take decisions, but it's not really working, does it? So we have basically lost all the tools that we have as human beings to cooperate, and loneliness is on the rise like never before. We have relationship issues. There's statistics reporting that people have less friends than ever. So the numbers are pretty alarming all over the place. We've basically forgotten how to be human. And now we're developing these super intelligent machines and the digital world is our creation that we focus so much on as a society, completely neglecting the thing that makes us human, which is emotions. This is why emotional literacy is so important for me personally. And this is the second reason, the more long-term reason why we lost it, is because we have been over-focusing for decades on technology instead of humanness. And the good news is that it is learnable. Like, we can unlearn our conditioning from childhood and from generational trauma, and we can relearn to read emotions, to understand emotions, to navigate the intensities of emotions, to regulate, to co-regulate with our children. We can relearn how to teach our children to feel emotions, to not be in their way of developing these natural abilities. And then we can use emotions as our compass and navigate through life, navigate through difficulties, navigate through the unknown, navigate relationships, be it one-on-one or in groups. This is all very, very natural for us humans. Yeah, if we allow ourselves to refocus on what makes us human.